Just the other day, I did this post where this woman was talking about this cultural event that comes around. It's a long weekend. The men go over there, they play soccer, they drink, they eat. The women, they are rounding up the kids, doing kid stuff. She has to make sure that the hair is done, the costumes are done, that the kids are rounded up, they have snacks and all of these things. She's talking about all of the things that she has to do, make sure her hair is done. She has to look a certain way all the while running around doing all of these foundational things. In the comment section, all women, despite the cultural differences, all understood what that woman was going through. And then that very same day that I did that post, a woman, one of my homies, sends me this Medium article. And this is in the exact same vein. This one's titled, He Ran a Race for Us. I Just Ran Everything Else. Because it's not even just the race, it's all of the other things that go along being the support and the foundation and all of that. Let's look at this post. Right here, highlighted, it says, Where the exhaustion of the unseen quietly begins to hurt your relationship. He trained for 6 months. I spent those 6 months differently from him. While he tracked his miles, I tracked the mornings. I woke up alone to make breakfast for two restless children and folded laundry while he was out finding himself on the open road. He had a training plan. I had everything else. When the race weekend arrived, our household ran a parallel operation. His checklist: race bib, compression socks, energy gels, headphones, mine, snacks, sunscreen, a change of clothes for both kids, a portable charger, wet wipes, the double stroller. I remembered. Of course, I remembered. Race morning begins at 5:30. He is out of bed in seconds, buzzing with the clean focus of a man with one singular goal. I am up too because the children do not wake themselves. Breakfast does not materialize on its own, and our 4-year-old needs exactly 12 minutes to be coaxed into clothes she doesn't want to wear. By the time we load into the car, he is already mentally at the start line. I am mentally at the start line of a completely different race. The drive is 40 minutes. The kids are awake and asking questions that have no good answers. He sits in the passenger seat reviewing his race strategy. I navigate the directions, the snack negotiations, and the territorial dispute over who is looking out of whose window. We park half a mile from the start corral, the closest I could find. I unload the stroller, strap in the smaller one, hand off the backpack, confirm he has everything, and watch him walk towards his starting wave. Cheer loud, he calls, already moving. I think she means to put the word down right there. I put down the bag, cutting onto my shoulder. The 6-year-old is already asking where the bathroom is. Total mess, but only I know this. We find a spot around mile 11. It's a good place to stand. I have a 4-year-old who wants to be held, a 6-year-old who keeps ducking under the crowd barrier. The sun is now directly overhead, and I forgot my hat in the car. The fact that she has to be out there with her two very young kids, 4 and 6, that is a mess. And the fact that the husband wants them there really speaks to the fact that he must not have to corral his kids very often, because over 2 hours of standing there is a hot mess. Okay, let me continue. You can imagine what was going on, and still, I stood for 2 hours. 2 hours is a long time when you are on pavement in the wrong shoes. I wore the ones that looked more appropriate for a family outing and less like I was the one actually running, holding a child on one hip, gripping the stroller with the other hand, craning my neck every 45 seconds for a familiar orange shirt and a sea of strangers. Somewhere around the 90-minute mark, my brain does what it always does when my body is occupied, but my mind is not handed anything specific to solve. It begins its audit. Did I inform the school? Have I enough pasta for the kids? Should I visit the grocery store while going back home? I stood there with cheering strangers, thinking about how our lives are going and what still needs to be done. I was waiting to see my husband do the thing he spent 6 months preparing for. He comes through at the 2 hour and 14-minute mark. I spot the orange shirt and scream because in that moment, whatever I am carrying, I am also proud of. Our 6-year-old screams beside me. He sees us, pumps his fist, and something in his face opens up. He crosses the finish line. There is a medal. There is a mylar blanket. There is a photo with the kids on either side of him, everyone grinning, the perfect family frame. A stranger volunteers to take the one with me in it. I am in it. Somehow I am still upright. The drive home was quiet. Only deep exhaustion allows. He is loose and satisfied, narrating highlights from the race. The kids are asleep in the back. I drive. At home, there was a next chapter of the story. He showers while I unpack the bag. The kids were also asking for something to eat. He comes out in clean clothes, looking lighter. He sits on the chair close to me and his eyes go soft. That was the best day, he says. I couldn't have done it without you. He means it. I can see that clearly. I nod and smile and try to locate somewhere inside me the version of myself who feels like a partner in this story rather than the logistics department that quietly makes it possible. I am still looking. This is precisely why women should not listen to male self help people. They shouldn't listen to them because women don't have the same support system that men end up having. Men, even when they have families, they do not do the hands on things like the women do. So they don't have to worry about logistics. They can just focus on the task at hand. They can focus on climbing the ladder. They can focus on getting their rest so that they can go in and kill it at their meeting or their presentation or whatnot. They don't have to worry about their dentist appointments, their checkups. All they have to do is make sure that their shoes are ready by the door, that they get enough sleep, that they eat the amount of carbs that they are supposed to. They can worry about the game day, no matter what the game is. It could be presentation day. It could be obviously a race day. It could be their soccer game. Whatever. They can do all of that if they have a woman at home that has to wrangle up the kids, make sure the laundry is clean, make sure that that the kids are properly cared for and all of that. Women do not typically have wives that are doing these same things. This is the reason why you cannot listen to self help people, I mean, these men, because women just don't have the same support. And this is also why I will continue to say women need to pull way, way back because these people are able to do so much and achieve these things, these successes. They're able to climb ladders and do all of these things because they don't have the same adult experience as women do. They simply do not. They don't have to edit their resumes and they have someone that can read through their different things to give it a different type of a different eye. They don't have Women do not have these same support systems. And so if women pull back, make these dudes hold their own nuts, then maybe, just maybe, women can accomplish the same things, or at least these men wouldn't have they wouldn't have this head start, or they wouldn't have their obstacles cleared so that they can simply run. On that video that I did a couple of days ago, where we were talking about fathers and mothers having different experiences, dudes get to have the fun, and the women are the ones running all of the things. Well, Game Lion left this message saying, fathers are an extra child, except also unilaterally in charge. And that's something for us to really think about. They get the title of being leader, they get to have all the fun, but they also get to be the ones that are supposedly the head in all of these things that say that they're in a position of power, even though the women are the ones that are doing all of the background things. We got Noldy Sims saying, this came to mind with the fifth ice cream the dad bought in this story. I would be so annoyed, especially since it sounds like he is not the one doing bedtime. Though on a day like this, he absolutely should be. She says, my husband and I always double check with each other on requests from kids like that. We want to make sure we don't say the opposite of what the other person said. These are the types that don't care about things like, tired kids, stressed kids, hungry kids, all of these things that mothers have to plan for. So I just wanted to bring that out. Oh, and definitely rejection is protection, saying this guy was obviously the fun dad. You can be the fun person. You can achieve all of these things. You can do all of these things if you have a support system like some of these men have with their wives. All right, y'all, chime in. Let me know what you think about all of this put together. It's always the variation of very, very similar things.